Oh, shit. Look at this. Right on time. We're actually on freaking time this time for once, guys. Get these freaking sunglasses off here. Look like a damn, I don't know, whatever word sunglasses. Cool guy. I went in wrestling practice the other day and I freaking forgot that I had this weird life. I had my sunglasses on and they were like, "What are you doing, cool guy? Take your sunglasses. Can't wrestle with sunglasses, cool guy." Anyway, so I can't believe it. I'm actually on freaking time for once to my own live stream. Like, that's ultra rare. I gotta be honest with you. I'm usually running like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes late at least. With all this like stuff I did in civil service and like always having to be on time for things. Like in my civilian life, I'm like never never translated over. Whenever I was doing something where you had to like always be on time or early, like I had to be like an hour early to make sure that I wasn't late. So I think that's pretty typical. So today's live stream, guys, is going to be a Q&A live stream. I've got a bunch of questions that I have saved up over, I don't know, a long time. Whenever the last time we did a Q&A live stream was, I'm pretty sure it was like a long freaking time ago. So what I do is I wait for all of these different questions to trickle in from all of the platforms that I have out there. And I save them all up, whether they're from emails, DMs, comments, this and that. And I put them all together and I'm going to just do it this way, usually forever, on a live stream where I just answer them all at once. So if you guys ever have any questions out there and you send them to me and I don't like respond right away, usually I'll respond and say, hey, I'll answer it on the live stream. For those of you who haven't heard back about a question, chances are I'm going to answer it today. So that's what we're doing. What I'm going to do is play a song or two, wait for anybody to trickle in. Otherwise, we'll just get right into it. So I'd say about 5 minutes and enjoy the music, and then we'll get back. I'm going to make myself a quick cup of tea here, and then we'll get into it. So enjoy the music, and then we'll get right in to the Q&A live stream. And again, if you guys have any questions from yourselves, throw them in the chats below, and I'll answer those. They'll take priority over the ones that I have saved up. So enjoy Bushido by Door to Pengal. And I will be right back. Right, ladies and gentlemen, more like gentlemen and gentlemen usually on this channel. But actually, I've had a surprising number of questions from females over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. So we're breaking records, guys. I suspect some of that have to do with the philosophy stuff that I put out, but it'll be fun. So first and foremost, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. And thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to probably jump right in and dive right into the questions that we've been getting. And we'll go from there because I suspect that it'll take a little while to get through them all. If you guys are watching later on, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up and throw a comment down there just to let me know that you enjoyed it. Or if you didn't enjoy it, let me know that too, whatever. But be nice. Don't hurt my feelings too much. Please. Thank you. All right. So let's jump into it. Hey, Will, I remember that you were doing some shooting competitions before. I just did my first one, wondering if you think that shooting competitions are a good way to train for combat. Should I be doing other stuff on the side too? Hank. Yeah, what's up, Hank? So, yeah, I was doing quite a lot of shooting competitions last summer. I was injured for a while from the MMA stuff, so I wasn't able to train that. And my buddy Mike ended up saying he's an avid shooter, former Air Force guy, and he was like, "Bro, come do a shooting competition with me." So I had always wanted to do it, so I went with him and I did my first one. And then literally after that, we were doing like 3 or 4 a week. And the whole time I was out injured, it ended up being like 2 months for my recovery. I was doing like 3 or 4 shooting competitions a week. And so I got a lot of experience with that. And do I think that shooting competitions are a good way to train for like actual self-defense scenarios with, shooting or concealed carry or whatever? Yeah, I think that it's definitely got a lot translates over. Now, keep this in mind. I've never had to use my weapon in a self-defense situation. The closest I've ever gotten to having to, Lord forbid, ever do that was I've had to let it be known once or twice that I was armed, which under the law, of the land that I live in, the state law where I reside, you can do that to like dissuade or avoid a fight. So I know in some states you're not allowed to because that's considered brandishing. But in the state where I live, you are legally allowed to let it be known that you are armed if it is avoiding a violent situation. That's the closest I've ever had to. And I think it's been like twice where I've had to do that. But now, with that being said, I've done a lot of training with the self-defense stuff, obviously, right? With shooting and all that. So here's my thing, and this will take a minute to answer, but here's my thing. There's a couple of different types of shooting competitions, and I'm forgetting what they are off the top of my head, but one of them is where like you're like, going around walls and pine corners and stuff like that. The other types are more you're standing in front of stationary targets and you're just going for speed and accuracy, and they both have merit. The one thing I've noticed, and I think, dude, I want to say it's like ISPA or some shit like that, where you're pieing around the corners. Those are great, but you're never going to win any competitions shooting the way that you would actually shoot in like a home defense scenario. And I've had guys that run the things come up to me because I'm always very diligent and cautious when I am training to train the way that I would fight, so I am able to fight the way that I train. And I had a guy come up to me, the guy who ran the competition, Texas guy, right? And he goes, "You ain't never gonna win no competitions like that, son. You got to go faster. You got to take chances." And I said, "All right, that's cool, but I'm training, man." So like I see guys breaking a lot of tactical rules in order to win the competitions, right? Like they will literally stand in the middle of a doorway to shoot all the targets real fast, which is all fine and dandy if you're trying to win the competition. But that will absolutely get you killed to stand in the fatal funnel in a real life situation, right? And like I see that all the time where competition shooters, they've got their fancy rig, their fancy gun with all their fancy stuff, and beep, the timer goes off, and they literally stand right in the middle of the doorway and shoot all the targets. Pop, 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 pop. Well, all right, cool, but no, that's not the way you win an actual gunfight when somebody's shooting back at you, right? So, but you're totally allowed to pie the corner and, carefully place your shots or, speedily, carefully place your shots. Totally fine. But again, realize you're not going to win any competitions like that. Now, when it comes to the competitions that you're standing in front of a target and going for speed and time, that's absolutely, shooting under stress is an absolutely fantastic way to train. You should be training that way. I've even done one where there was a like low light, pretty much no light situation. And that was great as well because I was running a basic Glock 19 with no night sights. And it really let me know it was out in the middle of the desert in the like fucking 10 o'clock at night on a moonless night. And it was surprising to me that I think the steel targets were probably, I don't know, 15 feet away, something like that. And it was very surprising to me how difficult that was. I had experience shooting in, low light, no light, but usually like at an indoor range or something like that, or in a shoot house where like there was still some ambient light. But again, in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the night, where there's no moon hardly, and no city lights at all, like it was pitch black. And, I had like a little, very small stream light that I was trying to use, and it didn't fucking work at all. So that really let me know too, like, dude, like there's some night sights on your Glock 19, like other things as well, like get a better flashlight. So there's a lot to be said for doing that type of training. You will learn a lot. And I had a guy, his name was Colonel Bob. I did an evasive driving school with him. And he said one day, and I was supposed to do, I did the evasive driving school. And then there was like a 1-day pistol training course right after. And I was like, Colonel Bob, you think that I should like bother doing this 1-day pistol course, man? Because like I've done quite a bit of pistol training. He goes, you can never, son, you'll never, ex-Green Beret, like Colonel, right? He goes, son, you'll never go wrong taking a pistol course. You learn something each and every time. He's absolutely right. So every time you get out there and train or do a course or do a competition, you'll absolutely learn something. And I think it's absolutely great. But I would caution you not to build bad habits whilst you are doing that as well. So don't fucking stand in the middle of a doorway just to like win the competition, unless you're just simply going it for bragging rights to win the damn competition, or for some reason there's money on the line, which, unless you're a professional, I don't think there ever is. But I do know a lot of cops and stuff that also do the shooting competitions to stay sharp. So, Hank, I think it was. I hope that answered your question, bro. That's my opinion and my opinion alone. Who do we got down in here? Richie the Wolf. What's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Do I think Trump will get reelected? Sam asks. Dude, I don't know, man. It remains to be seen, bro. That remains to be seen. I have no idea. I would object. You have very interesting Jesse P. You have very interesting thoughts on life. I'm wondering if you ever thought about doing private coaching sessions. Jesse, we could do that, man. Like, that's not a problem, bro. Go on GoToFightingSecrets.com, and I think there is a option up there available. And if there's not, let me know, and we can schedule something for ourselves. But yeah, I'll be open to that for sure. I'm just not. It's not something I typically like put out there that we do. But if you're interested, like, and I'm assuming you mean like in philosophy or like stuff like that, talking about where you're at in life and stuff. We could do that. Or, I don't really do like Zoom hand-to-hand combat lessons or anything like that. If you want to pay me to do that, we could do it. But get in touch with me, Jesse, and we can talk about that. Or better yet, send me a message on Gutters.com. Hey, Will, how did you learn Arabic to speak Arabic? And do you still practice it? If so, how often? I would like to learn a new language, but I'm afraid I don't have the patience. Any suggestions, Sarah? Yeah, Sarah, if you want to learn a new language, you can absolutely do it. It's going to take a lot of discipline and a lot of patience. That's not something a lot of people have, and also time, right? Like a lot of people say they don't have the time. They have more time than they might think, but it can also frankly be costly. So like I learned Arabic mostly like from a private teacher, and I found him on italki.com. I was learning Hebrew before that from it was the same service that the Jewish people use when they make an aliyah, like when they move to Israel. They do this school, and I'm blanking on the name of it now, but I was learning Hebrew through them, dating a Jewish girl at the time with an Israeli family, and going back and forth to Israel to train actually as well. And so I started learning Hebrew, but then I realized Arabic would be a way more efficient language to learn, practical language to learn. And I kind of always wanted to study it. I enjoy the Middle East. I enjoy Middle Eastern culture and food and stuff like that, music. So I did it, not to mention the fact that my career at the time was more tactical in nature. So I figured, what better way to progress and maybe get a job working with whoever, I'll leave it at that, than to learn Arabic. So it was something I immersed myself in. I threw myself into it. Not only was I doing an hour a day of studying with a teacher, and I lucked out because I found this guy who was a Syrian refugee on italki. This is a site that you can go to and find a private tutor from any language pretty much in the world. I found him. He was incredibly cheap, but he was a college professor in linguistics from Syria, right? And because of the war at the time, he was like living in Turkey, and it was a great deal, and I stumbled upon him, and it was a great, I lucked out. But I worked my ass off to learn Arabic, and yes, of course, I still have to practice it. I still do lessons every week. I do a half hour at a time, and I'll usually do like 2 or 3 half-hour sessions per week, because if you don't continuously speak it, you will absolutely forget it and lose it. And I've noticed that when I'm go through periods of time where I'm not studying, I absolutely start losing it. And so you have to keep going to stay sharp. I talked to a bunch of Green Berets, and you guys know that they have to study at the Defense Language Institute and stuff. But most of them who have gotten out and not used their language, they always forget it, right? So, but my advice to you would be, if you want to learn a second or even third language, do it. And your third language is going to be easier than your second. Learning your fourth is probably going to be easier than learning your third, right? It does. It gets easier because you like learn how to learn, and you learn like the way different combinations are and sounds are and the way the different grammar rules are and stuff. Another thing that I would recommend is don't worry about like the grammar so much. Don't worry about learning how to read it right away or write it right away. If it's a funky one, learn how to speak it. Okay. Learn the basics enough to learn how to get by, and then add from there. And then from there, you could learn about, reading it, writing it. I think my Arabic is on like a third grade reading level at best, and I don't write it at all. But I'm very comfortable when I travel to the Middle East, or even last time I was in Thailand, I happened to end up in the center of Bangkok, which was called Little Arabia, where all the Arabs live. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I was able to get around really well and continuously speak Arabic with, the Egyptians, the Syrians, the Palestinians, the whoever. And it was great. It was actually a great experience because I didn't have to do any lessons. I just talked Arabic with these people. It gets you a really good in. When I do find myself around the world, whenever I meet another Arab person, I'm not Arab. Whenever I meet an Arab person, there's an instant connection there because I can speak their language, and it's fantastic. Mumtaz. So that's what I would recommend, is just do it. Be patient, right? But if you want to learn that second or third language, you can absolutely do it, and it's a highly attainable goal, but it's gonna be a little difficult at the same time. Rewarding though, very much worth it. Okay, what is the absolute best weapon for self-defense? 10 out of 10. Thanks in advance. Sam, bro, the best weapon for self-defense, bro, is a fucking gun, dude. Like, it's what damn things are made for, man. And I don't know if you're an American. I don't know if you can get one. I don't know if I didn't say what country you're from, but in America we can carry a gun if we're not like a felon or restricted user or living in a communist like state. But that's the absolute best weapon for self-defense, man, is a fucking gun, dude. Like, and if you can get one, dude, get one. If not, and if you're in a different country, probably a knife. I mean, when you talk about a weapon, you're talking about going offensively and like legitimately like defending yourself against a multitude of threats. Like a gun or a knife, man, is like the absolute best because yes, it's deadly. Like, you're not going to control somebody with a knife or a gun. I guess with a gun or a knife, you technically could like threaten them with it, but you're not going to like use it like a Kubaton or like a baton or whatever, or a mace or whatever. But like, it's not a control tool, right? It's a fucking weapon. And if you're talking about weapon for like defending your life against a credible threat to your well-being, that would be my suggestion. And then you go down the list from there, and there's other things. A pen. I mean, a pen will break, right? A pen will it's not going to necessarily kill anybody. Could be useful. A stick, but a gun or a knife is going to be your best defensive option, in my opinion, man. Okay, and that's a gun is 10 out of 10. A knife is maybe like 8 or 9 out of 10, in my opinion. Opinions on civilians training CQB for SHTF should hit the fan situations. Yeah, so like CQB is one of those high speed things that everybody wants to train in, right? Like, it looks fucking badass. It is badass. Like, it's fun. It's cool. Like, you can't help but feel like high speed and like super efficiently cool But when you're like going in a room and doing CQB, especially with other people, like, you know, stacked up, like it gets no better than that. Like as far as like making yourself feel like an operator, right? Like it's cool. Like everybody loves CQB, but when it comes down to it, how practical is it for like your average civilian out there who like, you know, has a homestead or like even just lives in the city or like whatever? Like when are you really going to use it, man? Like I get it, home defense, stuff like that. It's a skill. It's a tool in the toolbox that if you are a firearm owner or like legitimately a prepper in any way or like a militia person or whatever, yeah, no, you should absolutely know a little bit about CQB, in my opinion. Like, why not, right? Like, why not? It's a modern tactical tool. Like it's a piece of modern warfare that like if you study the art of war, you should study it. But when it comes down to like prioritizing that over other things, like dude, there's so much other stuff that you should do. Like, think about training in before you train in CQB. Like I just don't really know what what else to say except like for shit hit the fan situation. I mean, I get it. Maybe you got to go raid, like maybe you got to do a raid and get supplies from like someone else, or like maybe you got to like clear your property or something. Sure, it could be useful, but I would prioritize learning the basics of shooting first. I would prioritize learning combatives. Apocalypse, what's up, man? I would prioritize medical stuff 100%, making sure that your preps are in order, right? Like you have food, water, other supply, medical supplies, radios, things like that you'll need, cash, right? Before diving deep into CQB. But then, you know, the good news is you take if you could go and take like a week-long class course from Orion Training Group or some guys like that, then yeah, sure, I'm all about it. But it's like I just see a lot of like so-called like preppers or whoever doing all this CQB, and I'm like, well, like cool, but what's really the point, you know? Like learn a little bit and you know, anyway, that's where I stand on that. So okay, so here's an interesting one. I'm dating the same girl and I'm going to leave this guy's name out of it because this is not something he wants his name attached to. I guarantee it. He put his name down, but I'm going to I'm leaving your name out of this. I've been dating the same girl for 3.5 years. Frankly, I am still in love. I'm just bored with her. I want to go bang other women. What should I do? Should I break up with her or should I cheat on her? You're 23 years old and know you have your whole life ahead of you, but you also really like the girl you're with now. Thoughts, opinions, please. Man, this happens, bro. Like I'll answer the question. This happens, man. It's part of being a dude. It's part of being in a relationship. Girls feel the same way. Like it gets old. This tea is fantastic. Green tea with turmeric and honey. Um, yeah, it's just part of being in a relationship, man. I can't really tell you what to do. If you like the girl you're with, don't cheat on her, man, because she'll find out eventually. Women always find out. Like that's like literally, like women will always find out. Like almost anything. Like if you don't want a woman to know something, you can never ever like pretty much never do it. But no, like it always just ends up coming out, and I think that's partly like a karmic thing too, right? Because when we lie and like when we build up that like karmic debt type of thing, like it will bite you in the ass. So if you do care about her, or even if you just want to be a good guy, like try not to cheat on her, man. I would have a conversation with her, and I would try to get her to agree to bring in some other women, like into the bedroom, man. Like some chicks are down with that. And if she's not, or if like you've talked to her already and like she just won't do that, then like I'm not I'm not the guy to ask about this, because like when I face this situation, I just get rid of them and I get a new girl. Like don't take my like don't do as I do, right? Like do as I say. Like uh that's a tough question, my man. I would continue to talk to other dudes and see what they have done or do, but like I'm not a good guy to ask about that, because like I said, I will just, if I'm not completely satisfied, I'll just leave and replace them. So, but don't do that. If it sounds like you care about her, man, try to make it work. Best advice I can give you. Anne wants to know, where do I live? I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that. The people who know me and like are close with me, like they know. With all due respect, like I'm not going to tell you where I live. Wouldn't be that hard to figure out, but I'm not going to say it. Hey, dude, I've been wanting to learn how to handle myself in a bad situation for years. I'm looking into some options. In your opinion, is boxing or Krav Maga better? Mm, boxing. I think you should learn how to box, man, because like through boxing, you're going to learn all kinds of shit. Like you're going to learn footwork, head movement, angles. You're going to get very good at throwing your hands. Whereas Krav Maga, it's like a second or like third world version of like shitty MMA that like never spars. Like Krav is a fucking joke, like in the States at least. And I will never stop saying that. So if you had to choose between Krav and boxing, do box. Number one, you spar. And I'm assuming you're meaning like going to a real boxing gym and not like a CKD like gym where they have you hit the bag the whole time and tell you how great you are. Like I've had several like clients come to me for the combatives lessons, and they've said, "Oh yeah, I studied kickboxing or I do boxing." And I'm like, "Oh great, all right, cool. Well, this will be easy to teach you that, like how to do street fighting shit." And I go and I put the pads on, and they don't know how to slip. They don't know how to like duck or roll. They don't know how to do any of the basic stuff. They don't know how to cover. Like they literally are set there on the bags for like an hour, and they don't even have good form, and they're just swinging on a bag the whole time. So, but I'm assuming you mean actually going to a real boxing gym and learning how to really box, and then sparring, and then possibly even fighting in the ring. Amazing, amazing. I mean, it gets no better than boxing and wrestling. And I'll stick with that. I'll stick with that forever. Back in the day when soldiers were actually learning how to do hand-to-hand combat, World War One, World War Two, Korean War, like boxing and wrestling. Even Fairburn and like all those guys, boxing and wrestling. I mean, you cannot get more efficient than the combination of boxing and wrestling. Period. And then if you add in some other stuff like from there, some Muay Thai and some Jiu-Jitsu, or like, my opinion, MMA is the best. But yeah, if you boxing and wrestling, man, do it. And if you can only box, or box and do Jiu-Jitsu, but box over Krav Maga any fucking day of the week, man. You guys know how I feel about American Krav. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I've been watching the situation in the Middle East, and I'm quite concerned about it. Seems the attacks on shipping combined with everything in Israel looks like it may blow up the situation out of control. I'd love to get your opinion on where things will go from here, Anthony. Okay, so yeah, so sure. So hold on, I gotta like think about this for a second. I gotta reread this. Okay, so where are things gonna go and develop from here in the Middle East? Um, Things seem like they're kind of heating up a little bit between Israel and Iran. Um, I mean, Netanyahu, it seems like he's going for it. He's going to take care of his problem once and for all. I don't see it going anywhere good, man. I don't, unless we get a peace deal, unless we get like a straight up like ceasefire, not even like a ceasefire, but like a peace deal. I don't fucking know where things go, man. Like Iran is like big problem. Israel and the Palestinians are a big problem. The Houthis have become a real thorn in the side. Lebanon, right next door to Israel, is getting more and more upset. Egypt is getting upset with Israel. Jordan's having issues. Like, it's just, this whole thing has caused a big. The Middle East is, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's a fucking matchbox, and you throw one lit match in there, and like everything starts to go. I don't get the impression that things will blow up in the Middle East while it's still an election year here in the States, although it certainly could. It'll be interesting to see how Israel's neighbors react to what's going on now. Where they're closing in on this. I forget the fucking name of the town. They're closing in on this town and like squeezing the Hamas commanders out, like this and that. They're doing all this stuff. I mean, if some of Israel, if Iran wants to make a big deal of this, they will. But I don't. I'm just in a wait and see mode here, and I'm not. I don't think that it's anything we have to be terribly concerned with right now. But I think it could lead into some crazy developments potentially. My opinion. Richie the Wolf says, I'm currently learning Norwegian because you plan on visiting Norway one day. It's not as hard as they make it to be. Like you said, you have to be disciplined. Yeah, good on you, man. Good on you. I mean, that's a hell of a language right there, Norwegian, bro. Right on. Yeah, and you're right. It just takes a lot of discipline, and a lot of repetition. It's like learning the martial arts. Repetition, repetition, repetition. By percentages, she's probably banged someone else already. Boglets, you're not wrong, man. Yeah, be a line. Well said. What are your thoughts on judo? I love judo. I don't practice judo. I don't do judo. I know Apocalypse does a lot of judo or did a lot of judo because he's from samurai lineage, but I think it's fucking fantastic. The only judo I've ever done has been with the gi jiu-jitsu stuff, which is like second-rate judo, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. And if you could study it, study it. And I rarely say that about martial arts, right? Like there's rarely a martial art where I will say, do it, do it, do it. And it's always like the old school shit. It's always either like boxing, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, like old stuff is usually the best stuff. Mayo Monkey, what's up, man? The failure of picking up and keeping the coalition, protecting the shipping on Yemen is very telling of the world's view on our military and leadership. Egypt is building a 19,000 square foot refugee containment area. Yeah, I heard. And that, that's what I was referencing, man, as far as like, Egypt, and they're getting really pissed off at Israel because they were going to do some operations, pretty close to their border and this and that. I mean, the thing about it, man, is like the Palestinians, dude, like it's a shame. It's a fucking shame. I'm like fighting off a cold right now. Because like Egypt doesn't want them, right? Like Jordan doesn't want them. I mean, like everyone feels bad for them, but no one wants the Palestinians in their country, man, because they cause issues. Like it's just the facts. So like, you've got these other Arab nations like screaming up and down about the Palestinians, but Iran, like, why don't you guys take the Palestinians? Right? Like you're so hell bent on like that is Iran. Your guys are so bent on like Israel's this and that and this. Well, why don't you take the Palestinians or shut the fuck up? Like do something about it or shut the fuck up. Like Middle East is a different place, guys. It's a different man. It's a different place, and like unless you spent time out there like Mayo Monkey, like you can't. It's difficult to really understand how things go out there. They make great fodder for Iran. Yeah, exactly. And that's all it is, man. It's all political. Palestinian people are a political tool. And I hate to say that, but they really are. And it's fucking sad because I know a lot of really cool Palestinians. That situation is never going to end. I mean, until it does, right? And like, I don't even want to get into that really, but it's a sad situation. Okay. So, bro, what Android Daddy wants to know, bro, what's up with the raccoons? Why do you always post pictures of them? Bro, I don't know, man. They're cute, bro. Like raccoons are cool, man. Like they're masked bandits, they cause trouble. And he's referring to like on Instagram, I post like pictures of raccoons and shit. Like who the fuck doesn't like raccoons? You don't like raccoons? Like you're a piece of shit. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like get over it. Raccoons are awesome, bro. And you know who got me into the raccoons was Jen. Jen really loves raccoons. I say raccoons. Some guys say raccoons. Fucking raccoons, man. They're dope. All right, they're pretty cool. So get over it. Get over yourself. In fact, I literally opened up my Instagram right now. Wait, let me block out my personal information. There you go. And I look. First picture I saw, fucking cute ass raccoon with some candy. How cute is this shit? This shit is amazing. Let me block out my shit. How fucking cute is this little guy? All right, come on. What are you talking about? You don't like raccoons? Get out of here. And it says it's dangerous to go alone. Take these drugs. Oh, that's fucking awesome. I mean, you don't get much better than that. That's with the raccoons, bro. All right, let's see. It's like high school politics and emotions with guns, says, oh, okay, you're referring to the Middle East. Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's tribal as fuck, dude. Like, Lawrence of Arabia said it best, man. Like, it'll never be any different over there. Like, it just never will. Like, it's just what it is. You see more raccoons than squirrels in your neck of the woods. Well, not out here in the desert, man. We don't have either, really. Like, we've got raccoons. You just never see them. You see coyotes out here. But where I'm from originally in, like, New York, New Jersey, I guess there's more. You see more squirrels, probably. But I wish you saw more raccoons because I like them more. What kind of knife do you suggest for EDC? Says Charlie Dib. What kind of knife for EDC? Something easy to open, something that folds up and you can conceal it. I go to a lot of clubs and bars, and most of them, the clubs at least, you can't carry a fire. You're not supposed to carry a firearm inside. You get in trouble if you get caught with it, but you get in a lot less trouble if you get caught with a knife. And there's ways to pretty easily get around that. So, I mean, a knife is an absolutely great tool. Make sure that you can conceal it because a knife should be felt and not seen. Because they could have been maybe watching Gutter Fighting Secrets and learned how to do some knife defense, and you don't want to take a risk on that. Getting stabbed with your own knife would suck. So get something that's easy to open. That's why I like to carry a switchblade type knife that you just press the damn button. This knife is amazing. It's got a very sturdy blade on it. That's the problem with like switchblade type knives that I've seen is that their blades are very flimsy. And I feel like if I really stuck someone with it, especially if it hit bone, it might break off. So the assisted spring opening is nice as well. Sometimes those can be a little clumsy. I feel like almost it will fall out of my hand if I don't have a tight grip on it. Find one that works well for you. Another thing that you should think about is a cheaper option because they get lost or confiscated. So something with a mix of both being inexpensive, expendable, and also sturdy enough, and also being able to open and access quickly in a stressful situation would be ideal for a folding knife. And then if you want to have something for everyday carry that's a little more fancier, a little more high end and expensive, then go for one of those too. There's no shame in having nice things, man. I love nice things. But as far as like a knife, folding knife that you're going to try to take in, somewhere where, should we say, an austere environment, be prepared to lose it. So, having a couple of cheap folders that you can carry for that type of situation that you don't care if you lose it would be a good idea. But do make sure that you can open it efficiently and access it efficiently and quickly in a highly stressful situation. You seem more G-Dubs, what's up, man? Any thoughts on One Shepherd and their sister schools for the future? Yeah. Were you the guy that asked me that? I have a question on that as well. One Shepherd is the absolute best small unit tactics instruction program for civilians in the world, in my opinion, that I've ever come across. I have one semester left, I believe. I think I only have one left, and that'll be my final semester before I become an instructor with them. And I'm very excited for that. I've learned quite a bit in my time at One Shepherd, quite a bit. They now have a Bravo company in Virginia. It used to be at Summit Point, which is where the State Department sent their people to go learn how to drive. I went through several evasive driving courses there. Now they moved it to somewhere else in West Virginia. Dr. Larson has his connections and he uses them wisely. So I haven't been to that location yet. They've got Alpha Company in Missouri, and then I know they're going to open a Charlie Company. They were talking about in Florida, but I think that fell through. So I don't know where their Charlie Company is going to be, but they're going to be opening one up. They've opened up more spaces because now it gets sold out almost immediately. So they're doing more semesters and more spaces. They're limited to how many cots and how much room in the GPU tents they have on the fob, but do it. If you can go and do a semester, even if you can only do one, get your foot in the door, meet the people, and get the training. I would highly recommend it for any of you serious about defending your nation. Every citizen warrior needs to go through that, period. Let's see. What do we got here? Hey, man, I lost it. Looking forward to them setting up shop down in any various swamps, specifically Louisiana. Would be glad to have them. Man, that would be interesting. I'd fucking hate to patrol through the swamps, to be honest with you, man. But probably be great training. Let's see. Where did this question go? All right, well, I'll start with this one. Okay, ... Apparently you're in finance. What do you think is going to happen with the stock market this year? ... I'm hearing that there will be an all-out economic collapse. Imminent. Prebin Lord. Bro. Is that a real question, man? Come on, bro. Like, I'm not a psychic, but there's not going to be an imminent economic collapse. I'll tell you why. because since around 2008 or 2009, or even, I'm gonna say it like this: since about that time frame, I've been watching YouTube videos where people are telling me that another Great Depression is imminent. It's going to happen by October, because October is always when the stock market is at the lowest. And that's always when stock markets crashes happen. And every year, it's imminent and it's coming. All out economic collapse, Great Depression 2.0. Listen, there's no indication that that's going to happen. We have literally it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It very well could happen. I don't know what the catalyst would be, but it's not here yet. Don't worry yourself about it. You're good. You're good. I don't know what the fuck I did. Kicked myself or got kicked. That sucks. Don't get old. Let's see. Any thoughts on any thoughts on the current SEER challenge for grunt proof? I don't follow that, G-Dubs. I'm not sure about that. I don't follow that. I know that I think Brent0331 did that, right? I remember him talking about it last time we hung out at One Shepherd. I just don't know anything about it. Sorry. Ace the Face says, bring back Jen, please. She was on our last live stream, man, and actually that live stream got me in some fucking trouble. I can't say with who, but it wasn't. Anyway, she'll be back. Jen will be back. It's been okay. So, hey, man, it's been really hard for me to get dates with girls. I want, or any of them, really. Just being honest. I know you talk about pickup arts sometimes and want to know what you think the best way to get these girls interested is. I'll leave his name out too. I don't really talk about the pickup arts anymore because, to be honest with you, man, like that's like the pickup arts is like it's fucking like early 2000s thing, man, and like all the girls know about that shit now. Like, you can't trick them like that. Like, it's just, you can't be confident, man. You got to be confident with women. And if you don't have self-confidence, you could fake it, but like, I don't know, man. Like, there's guys I know who still like run gambits and shit like that. It's just so cheesy. And it's frankly fucking sad to watch. Any of the guys, especially guys that are older, that like do like the whole pickup artist thing, is like so fucking pathetic, frankly speaking, and it's sad. It's very sad. I think you're a younger guy, but like, how do you get girls? Get in good shape. I mean, if you look good, that's like more than half the battle, honestly. Like, I don't know if you're overweight or if you like have, or if you're too skinny or like what, but like fix that and you will get confidence, and like learn how to throw hands, and that'll give you more confidence. And then like, I know some guys get nervous around girls, like just fucking fix your confidence and everything will really fall into place. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of women, bro. You're a man, like you're a dude. Like, don't be afraid of women, bro. Like, that's weak. Strengthen yourself, my friend. Strengthen yourself, and like the rest will follow. And then just, bro, like with women, don't like realize like they're fucking like a dime a dozen, man. Like fuck, man. Like you get one, you get another, you get rid of her, you get another one. Like, it's just fucking women, man. They're like, it's like kind of like money. Like, it's like if you don't have it, like you really think about it a lot and you want it, but if you have it, it's like, whatever. Like, dude, we're in the scheme of things, like women are important, but they're really not that important. Like, not individually, at least. Like, I don't know, man. I'm jaded with women too, because like, but like, I wouldn't worry about it, man. I would just be very confident. And like, I think that will solve a lot of your issues. So get in good shape. Like, get yourself in very good physical condition. If you're young, that's like, you got that working for you. And just like, don't be afraid to be a fucking idiot around them. And like, some of the best advice I ever got when I was young about dealing with women, bro, is like, be a nice asshole. And like, that might seem a little like, the fuck does he mean by that? And I think you'll have to figure that out for yourself, but like, really don't care about them. Just don't. Like, that's honestly the best advice I can give. Don't care about women. And like you say, Mayo Monkey knows this too, man. Like, chase money, not women. Yeah, like, dude, do it, because if women can sense that they're not important to you, they'll want you more, man. And if you have money and you look good, like, you'll be confident and you know how to throw hands, like, and women will want you. So there you go, man. Like, that's what I can tell you. It's, work on yourself, and like, the women will follow. Dude, this is like 3 different guys writing in to ask me about women now. So like, obviously I know that like, it's a thing. And like, dating and women are all mixed up right now. Like, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They want to be more like men, and like, a lot of the dudes want to be more like women, which is actually a good thing. Why is that a good thing? Because people like me and you, who act like men, can get the women more easily. So let the fairy boys be fairy boys, and like, men act like men, and we'll see who fucking succeeds in the end. I've also had several questions now about the thing. I think I could say it. The shots. We'll say it like that. The shots. Like, what my opinion is of them, and like what do I think it really is, and like this and that. So I'll attempt to answer that the way that I can, because this has been like several questions now about it. From what I understand, and I don't study this that much, but like, enough, right? Whatever the fuck they did with these things, it wasn't legit. Um, when they first came out, I was excited, and I thought like, all right, cool. Like, hopefully this will put an end to like the thing, right? Like, the lockdowns and all that. And I wanted to trust science. And Jen, as you guys know, she was all about them. I was still with the fire department at the time, so I was hopeful for them. But I mean, the evidence is overwhelmingly damning now. You've got all kinds of problems that we were seeing with them, and it's just bad news, man. And like, that's what you get when you rush these things, right? And like, you use new technologies and stuff that like haven't really been studied, and like, you've got companies competing to like get them out first to make money, like all that. It's a bad thing, man. So that's what I'll say is like, it's wrong, it's bad. I don't know what else to say. I would advise you not to like do it at this point. Do I think that there's some kind of like concerted plan behind it? No, I don't. I think it's like everything else, where it's like all about the fucking money. Legitimately, I think it's all about the fucking money. And I think that those companies like wanted to get their thing out first so they could make the most money. But don't trust them. Don't trust big pharma, man. Like, that's good advice no matter who you are. So there you go. That's where I'm at on it. Okay, so this one I don't usually get. And this one, I think this was an email. I don't usually get emails like this, but I'm going to read it because I don't usually get emails like this. don't you ever think that it's dangerous to show all this combat stuff online? I mean, anyone could be watching, and it could be showing the wrong people how to do some dangerous things. I wonder if you ever stop to think about this. Um, and I couldn't make this shit up. The name is Karen. Yo, like, come on, get out of here. Like, do I think about it? No. Like, I hope I can show good people how to do dangerous things. And like, honestly, the some of the stuff I did in my early YouTube like days where I was talking about certain things, I don't put that shit on anymore for like a reason, right? Like, number one, I don't want liability for it. Number two, like, not that I'm liable. I'm not liable for anything. We just talk. These are ideas, by the way. Um, Never telling you to do anything. Just talking about it. But I'll give you this. There's a little bit of merit to that question, right? And so yeah, like I'm not showing everything I could. It would be irresponsible of me, frankly, to show like some of that stuff. And like, why would I, right? Especially for free. But like as far as the combatives, dude, like come on, get out of here. Like I hope I can show, especially younger guys, how to like protect themselves and protect their family and their women, right? And like we need more men out there, and we need capable, confident warriors. It's what our America is a warring society, right? We are a people of war. We are founded out of revolution. Like this is our culture. We like guns. We like combat. We're good at it. We love it. And if you don't love it, you're not an American. So fuck you. um, George Washington is looking forward to the gardening season, specifically concerning vegetables? Question mark. Hell yeah, grow your own shit, man. Because all this GMO and like all this like pesticides and stuff, man, like, terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I live in an apartment, as you guys can see, and like it's not feasible for me to do a lot of gardening, but I wish I could do more, man. I remember when like my parents used to live on a farm for a while, and we had gardens, man, and that shit was amazing. Fresh strawberries, like celery, asparagus, like all this fresh produce, no pesticides, no GMO. Everything was all natural, like watermelons with the seeds, like old school, delicious, absolutely incredible. And dude, yeah, I'm all about gardening, man. I'm all about growing your own stuff. Whether it's vegetables or fruits or whatever, right? Even if you smoke weed, like grow your own weed, so it's not GMO weed, right? Like I don't smoke weed, but like I'm all about it. Yeah, TZ, exactly. Just don't simp. Good advice. TZ says, unfortunately, society has decided that dangerous men is a bad thing. They forgot that the whole point of being a man that's the whole point of being a man. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%, dude. Like, a lot of Stoics have talked about that. And like Jordan Peterson made it pretty famous where he was like, you should be a dangerous man, not a nice man or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that's our whole premise here at Gutter Fighting Secrets. We want to help men become better men, and we want to make sure that they can operate as men in this society and not weak bitch ass mother flowers. George Washington says, what are your thoughts on current Japanese combatives after having your trip over there? Good question. Deep respect for the Japanese arts, man. Deep respect. And I got to really study a lot of them in like their purest essence. Whereas you come over like stateside and like other countries and you study the Japanese arts, and it's they can be misrepresented or watered down in some ways. Like I got to study Okinawan karate, even with my boy from One Shepherd, Alfredo, great guy. He's been doing Okinawan karate for fucking years. He's like a 6th degree black belt in it. And he came over to where I live and trained before I went over there to Asia. And he like taught me some stuff very similar to the way Muay Thai trains. Aikido with my boy Rich over there that I met at Wolf's Combatives is high level Aikido black belt. Going in there to an actual real deal Aikido dojo in Tokyo and training with those guys don't claim that Aikido is like the end all be all self defense. And they're very honest with me and Taylor, who are both MMA guys, about listen, like you have to study Aikido for years and years and years and years for it to even start to work. They all admitted that. And all those guys, most of those guys, the black belts at least, all studied other arts to supplement their Aikido. So it's like they get it. The cool thing about the Japanese arts is all of the different dos, whether it's like Aikido or whatever, the other dos, I'm spacing other names, they all blend into each other, right? So you've got like the sword fighting art, which blends into Aikido, which is more about disarming weapons. And then that blends into like jujitsu and judo, right? Which is about, empty hand combatives, strangling, throwing. And then you've got, other just they all like they were originally, from what I understand, all in one kind of, the samurai would all learn one art form, which incorporated, weapons to empty hands, to disarms, to throws, to this, to that, right? And then eventually they become kind of separate arts. But going over there and like being able to spend the day training in Japanese katanas with a guy who goes back, his lineage goes back to the samurai. And what an honor, man. I mean, going and studying ninjutsu with a guy whose lineage goes back to Iga province and the ninja, like the real ninja, and reading through the texts, this old book that the guy had, all in Japanese. And if Rich, who speaks fluent Japanese, hadn't been there, I wouldn't have any of these opportunities to do this, because he translated everything for us, because the guys that we were training with didn't speak English. And to like go and read through these ancient ninja texts, and then to apply it through a filter of me knowing about like modern day tradecraft and espionage type of stuff, and seeing, wow, this is exactly how we still do it today. There's not very much difference at all to back then, the way they were hiring and recruiting spies, to like now. Like, wow, that's really incredible. So it gave me a huge, huge understanding about how efficient these people have always been at making war. Much respect to the Japanese. In the words of the late Notorious B.I.G., never get high on your own supply. It's good advice, man. Absolutely good advice. I agree. Street Fighter is an underrated martial arts. Dr. Scorley, what's up, man? Well, yeah, I mean, okay. I didn't know that was a martial art, but like street fighting is, I guess it's its own thing. That's George Washington. That's the most common type in my area is Shorin Ryo Karate. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. When you study a karate or a martial arts, like they all have merit and they all have a different thing, right? Like even Taekwondo has merit, right? Like you got to be young and flexible for that shit. But like, it's got its time and its place, and the whole thing. And at MMA practice the other day, you guys know I'm on the amateur fight team at my gym, and one of the coaches at the end of the session was like, listen, like this is mixed martial arts, and they call it mixed martial arts because like we can't tell you exactly, like there isn't necessarily a system. Like there is, loosely speaking, it's boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, but like he was like, listen, you got to put your own spin on this stuff. And it was kind of harking back to what Bruce Lee would say about, taking what's useful, rejecting what's useless, adding what's uniquely your own. And it's like when you learn a martial art, you should, even what's his name from the Book of the Five Rings said it himself: never study one art. Don't limit yourself. You should study them all. So when you study a martial art, you should learn and take what's useful from that, and then learn another one, and then learn another system, and just eventually that will build up to like your own version of doing things. And that's why like the system that I've been working on and creating, modern gutter fighting, it's still like a work in progress, just like Jeet Kune Do was to Bruce Lee. And it was an open-ended kind of a thing, right? Because like what worked for me won't necessarily always work for you. And what works for you, sure as shit, won't always necessarily work for me, and vice versa with the other guy, right? So like it's all very, you will reach a point as a fighter or as a martial artist where you're able to just look at things and say like, okay, let me train that. I like that. Let me add that here. Let me train, get good at this. And you'll reach a point where you get and Apocalypse has a good saying, fight IQ, right? I love that term. But you will build that eventually um, enough to where you will have an understanding of like, let me take everything and see what sticks and use what works and throw away what doesn't. What are your thoughts on the relationship between canines and man as far as combatives in the confines of a mag group are concerned? A mag group? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Mag group. I'll let you clarify that, and I'll get to a few other questions too. Will, where did you learn gutter fighting? And who teaches it these days? I can't seem to find any place to actually go and learn it, but I'm very interested in studying to become proficient, says Howler. Yeah, so that's an issue, man. That's a big issue. It's like there really isn't anyone who teaches gutter fighting. Like not pure water gutter fighting. Like where did I learn it? I learned a lot of stuff from Bill Wolf. I learned a lot of stuff from reading the fucking books and watching like shit that I found on open source videos, both on YouTube and like other places around the internet. Um, I mean, I've been reading his books since I was a kid, and I've been playing around with ideas for a long time. But like, really, like when it comes to going somewhere and actually learning it, like Bill Wolf is like one of the last guys that teaches like actual old school military combatives. You'll be hard pressed to learn it anywhere else. And the good thing about that is Bill Wolf is still alive and he's still teaching. And I've been lazy. I haven't gone to another one of his camps since like 2018. I think it was the last one I went. Every time I go, man, I learned so much from the dude. If you want to learn like pure gutter fighting, you got to just study from the books, honestly. Now, Tommy Moore is another guy that he shows techniques online. I'm all about Tommy and I'm all about his channel. Like, I got a lot of respect for the dude. I've had him on the podcast. Great guy. Watch his stuff, watch my stuff. But these days, honestly, we're more focused on like modernizing and learning how to fight that way. Every now and again, I hearken back to the old roots of where we came from. But frankly speaking, I have my own perspective on it these days. Gutter fighting is a great system. It's absolutely probably one of the easiest and best to learn. But you're going to be hard pressed to find any schools that teach it. Frankly speaking, the ones that try fail. It's just not, people don't want to learn. People don't really want to learn it like that, man. It's just that the demand isn't out there for it. It's a niche thing. It's a sad thing, though. No, mutual assistance. Oh, so what I think the role of canines, and dude, canines are great. You guys know I had Hunter for a long time before he passed away. Hunter was a working dog. Hunter was a military dog. Highly trained, highly trained individual. Damn thing was amazing. I mean, I would just tell him plots and he would fucking lay down he had his attack commands too. Bro, Apocalypse, thank you so much, man. Bro, that's amazing, dude. You're the fucking man, bro. But yeah, I think canines are an absolutely invaluable tool. Absolutely invaluable tool. Get them. Get them. Put them in your mutual assistance groups. Um, they're great for perimeter defense. They're fantastic for tracking. I mean, Hunter didn't track that well, but he attacked well, and he was a hell of an alarm system. But the damn thing didn't track well. But certain dogs will track better than attack, and certain dogs will attack and protect better than track. But yeah, absolutely invaluable tool, and I think they're one of the most underrated tools that you could possibly have for any type of home defense. Um, every range has favorable techniques, and controlling distance is paramount. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Controlling distance is paramount. Absolutely. Um, here's my thing, right? And we'll go on this apocalypse because I think you agree with me. So, like, I get a lot of flack for the MMA stuff, right? Because I don't mean this to disrespect anybody, okay? Because everyone's got a different understanding of fighting. Most of the flack I get about MMA for street self defense is from people who never have done MMA. And I hear a lot of misconceptions coming out as actual concerns. A lot of the times I hear people say, well, you'll never want to shoot in for a takedown on the streets because of the cement and your knees, right? Like you don't want to shoot on the streets because of the cement and your knees. Well, we don't really shoot like that in MMA, right? Wrestling, you shoot, right? You'll do wrestling shots. Um, but in MMA, you're worried about getting knees, right? And stuff like that. You'll blast double guys, right? I mean, in other words, you'll fake a 1-2, reach in and scoop the legs and throw them down like that, right? You'll circle around and lift guys and pick them up, but you're staying on your feet, man. You're not like in real MMA, like you're not going and doing wrestling shots typically. You see it, but it's not encouraged, and it's not that common either. So like that's that, right? And then people talk about like, well, it's not like in the streets you can eye gouge and bite and do knees to the groin. Well, so like like what? Like so can somebody who does MMA, but they can also fight very well, right? Like if you think about this, you're a highly trained athlete and fighter going against another highly trained athlete and fighter. You have to be at the top of your game if you're fighting MMA. People, I think, get a misconception that it's like, oh, you're rolling around doing jiu-jitsu. There's not a lot of jiu-jitsu that happens in MMA, frankly, anymore. Like there is, but it's like people think about doing gi jiu-jitsu and like competition jiu-jitsu and somehow think that that goes over and translates in MMA. No, like the jiu-jitsu you see in MMA is like very basic white belt type shit, very basic, because all of that advanced stuff, like 9 times out of 10, it doesn't really work that well. Like you're worried about getting hit, you're worried about hitting somebody else. Like in MMA, if you single leg somebody down, they go down and you don't, you're not going to then go down and like put them in cross side control. You don't do that. You fucking hit the shit out of them and you pound their head into the fucking mat or thusly the pavement. Like you don't also go down. Like it's not like that. It just real MMA isn't what people think it is. And unless you actually train MMA and are actually actively training for a fight like myself, like you might get a wrong conception of it. But I'm telling you this, there's a reason Army Combatives is now mostly mixed martial arts. There's a reason Special Operations is based on mixed martial arts. It works. It works. Learning how to fight off a wall, that's an art in itself. You're not going to learn that fucking Krav Maga. Like you might learn a little bit of it to like make yourself feel confident, but Last Wednesday, I spent 2 hours fighting straight off a wall. You don't get training like that if you're not training MMA. Like, literally, think about being taken down over and over and over and having to fight off a wall back up against somebody who's punching at you and trying to keep you down, like another heavy man who's also an athlete, who's also trained. That's training that just absolutely applies in every aspect of street fighting. If you actually train real MMA from a real MMA gym, you are going to be an extremely proficient street fighter. End of story. I mean, I'm sorry. I will continue saying that because I'm actively training for an MMA fight. And I've actively trained for self-defense, military-type combatives, and street fighting for 18 years. I've had a burning desire and passion to be able to just handle myself well in like deadly situations since I was young. Since I was, I'll say it, since I was locked up when I was a fucking teenager and I like had to fight every now and again, not like that, but like I had like a burning desire to just be the best fucking like most badass fighter I could. And that led me through like a whole nerd rabbit hole about learning all about this shit. And that led me to MMA. And now that I've been doing this actively for like over a year now on the amateur fight team, like I'm telling you, people who talk trash about MMA and then say that like they want to go for street fighting, I'm sorry, you're mistaken. I know that's not a popular opinion, and it's going to get me flack from people who don't know a lot about martial arts, or actually, I should say, people who know a lot about martial arts might have a different opinion. People who don't fight a lot, might have a different opinion. But if you're a fighter, like if you're an actual fighter, you're probably going to have a similar outlook on this, that I just said. And I'll leave it at that. And I don't want to sound pompous, but it's true. Like any of you guys out there who do judo or do jujitsu or do boxing or do like sambo or any of the, in my opinion, real combat arts or wrestle, like I think you'll understand what I'm saying. And that's not to say that gutter fighting's bad or like doesn't work. Gutter fighting's great and it does work. But it's like Fairburn said the exact same thing. Fairburn was a man who wrestled. Fairburn was a man who did a lot of like judo type stuff. I think he was judo black belt. Fairburn was a man who did all of this other stuff and then invented his dirty fighting system for OSS officers who needed to be able to like protect their life in order to get away from like the Gestapo. Like Fairburn invented gutter fighting from mixed martial arts, or what was the equivalent to MMA back then. So gutter fighting is not the end all be all. It's an option for you if you're not looking to become a fighter. And Fairburn himself was very clear about this. Gutter fighting will not protect you from a trained fighter. It will aid you in escaping a bad situation. But it will, if you're fighting another man who has had like fights, you're fucked, buddy, because like we are a different breed. I'm just going to leave it at that. When the next album comes out. Yeah, DJ, when is your next album out, bro? Welcome, by the way, man. Various projects in the works. Another Pythonism split is probably in the next one coming. All right on, man. Hell yeah. DJ is one of the more talented artists that I know, actually. I remember when we were doing Winter Forge, DJ and I were chilling afterwards, went out for some steaks and shit. And he played me some of his stuff, man. DJ does cool stuff. He does like Viking music too. And like DJ is like, yeah, he's a gentleman scholar. From your perspective, what are the things that this younger generation are missing in life, and your best life advices you can give to them? Damn, dude. Let me think about that for a second, and I'll answer another question while I do, because I want to give a good answer. Fuck. All right. This is a great question. Why do you think jujitsu is such shit these days? Says Jamatra. Um, because it's gotten into competition shit, man. And that's another reason I stopped doing gi jiu-jitsu. I'll go back to it because I want to get my black belt. But like, when I got into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I think it was in 2017. It was still very much a fighting system. We learned about hitting. We learned about it was more practical. And I know it depends on where you train too, but over the years, it's become a sport. And when I say a sport, I'm not saying a sport like MMA because, like, you could call MMA a sport, but it's a fucking fighting system. We just discussed that. But the vast majority of people I meet who do gi jiu-jitsu and specifically gi jiu-jitsu don't have an understanding of street fighting. Like, as soon as punches start happening, they don't know what the fuck to do because they do this like upside down kicky feet, like competition specific stuff that will get you killed in the street. And it's got absolutely very little bearing on actual grappling or street fighting or self-defense, period. I don't know what the fuck I did to my foot. It's gotten such shit that, like, I couldn't recommend gi-specific jiu-jitsu these days. Supplement your stuff with some gi stuff to learn some chokes and stuff. And, like, it's very applicable to, like, fighting in a military uniform if you learn from the right place. But you're right, dude. Like, it's gotten such shit these days because of all the competition stuff. And competitions are nothing like a real fight. I mean, they can be, and like they're a good way to test your skills. But like, don't get me wrong, like competition people who do competition jiu-jitsu regularly, like they're very good at jiu-jitsu. But a lot of the actual fighting, like street fighting spirit or warrior spirit that was from original jiu-jitsu for the samurai and for military application is gone, unless you're doing like no-gi is a little better because you get more wrestling stuff. But even then, man, like competition no-gi and competition gi stuff will give you a false sense of security. You'll be a very good grappler, at least at least on your back and in the on the ground. But and that's why jiu-jitsu gets a bad rap, because people who only do jiu-jitsu, they have a misunderstanding of what it's going to be like in a real fight. It's not to say that their jiu-jitsu will not work. It can and will, and possibly will, very possibly, especially when they get the right advantageous positions. But like I said, what jiu-jitsu has turned into over the last couple of years at least is all this sport shit and like not much fighting spirit left. And that's what I'll say about it. So from my perspective, what are things that the younger generation is missing? Doc Swirly. There's a couple of things I can think of off the bat. Number one is like they don't go outside as much. Like, I'm one of those generations that we grew up playing outside like every day. I think all the guys who are a little older and my generation and above and right below, like you guys remember what that was like. Like we had Nintendo and shit, right? We had like Sega and like eventually when I was a little older, we had like what the N64 and shit. Like we played video games, but like we went outside, we played a lot, we used our imagination. We certainly didn't have any social media. I had American Online Instant Messenger, ASL, age, sex, location. You guys remember that? You were chatting with chicks that you're not 100% sure if it was a chick or like what, but you had a good time anyway. Those were some good times, honestly. But there was that, right? So we came up and we learned a lot about social interactions because there wasn't a lot of like online stuff. That the younger generation now, they're very shy. They don't do eye contact. Like they really don't do much eye contact, which is very weird to me, and it makes me not trust them. And I'm one of the oldest guys at my MMA gym. I am, and like that as far as one of the fighters goes, at least I think I might be the oldest fighter in there. I'm not sure, but that actively like fights. But I think that I say that because I meet a lot of really young guys, right? Like most of the guys that are fighting are like 19, 20, 21, 23, around there, right? Young guys. And a lot of them don't make eye contact. Um, Once you get guys that have been fighting for a while, they get enough confidence where they understand it. They start to get indoctrinated in the warrior culture, and like yes, they get it. But like a lot of the young kids don't. And that's something I see quite commonly. They're shy and they don't make eye contact because they're not being taught social skills because they don't need it as much, I guess. So I would say, like, on that behalf, I think if you can learn really young, the younger you can learn definitive social skills, the farther you will go. Because life is about connections, business and life, and getting anywhere in life is about connections. And you don't build connections with a lack of understanding of social interaction. You have to be able to look a man in the eyes, give him a firm handshake, and like say, "Hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you," type of deal. Or, "Thank you for the role. I appreciate it. Good job." Like being a man and looking into another man's eyes, no homo, is very important. And if you're willing to put yourself out there a little bit, you can get a lot in return. Because you can meet a guy like me who's older and is into the same things that you are, and I have connections, right, in business, or what, you want to go to this college, but like maybe your grades are like not that great. I happen to know one of the guys that works high up in that college, man. Like, I like you. You seem like a good kid. Like, let me make an introduction. When you're young, you don't think about shit like that, really. Some guys do, but a lot don't. But like, build connections. Build connections. Put yourself out there. And like when somebody invites you to do something, try to go and do it with them, because it's not about the experience necessarily. It's about letting the other guy know that, like, all right, I respect you enough to, like, if you're inviting me to go, I don't know, whatever, play this sport. It's not that I care about the sport, but it's that I want to put myself out there to make that connection so that we can have that working relationship. In other words, I think, right? That's very important. Um, Learn about like your social shit, like learn about it, and don't, not to like pick up chicks, although that's helpful, but like get good at making those connections. I'll leave it at that. And then like I want to spend a second on this question because it was a actually good question. Um, so that's one thing that I see them missing is the social skills. And life advice I can give to them. And yeah, and I would say that was good life advice to make connections whenever you can, man, and develop them, right? Develop people, develop people. And it's the thing we talk about espionage, right? Everyone loves espionage and spy shit. Like it's the same thing, like building an asset, right? Like developing an asset. Like think of it like that if you must, but like every person that you meet is an asset that you can develop, and you can mutually benefit from that relationship. Man, excuse me, guys. I might need some more tea. All right, so let's see. We are Renaissance men of our time, absolutely. Ah, Mo says, "I'm older. We had sticks." Yeah, man. Nothing can. I saw a meme about this once. Nothing can relate to the joy of like when we fucking played with sticks, man. That stick could be anything. It could be a sword. It could be an M60, right? It could be an M16. It could be a fucking Like the possibilities of what a fucking stick could have be were endless back then, man. Like endless. We Why play video games when you can nut shot a buddy with airsoft way better, in my opinion. 100%, man. And like that's what we used to do, right? We used to like go out and fuck around with paintballs and airsoft guns and like fucking climb a hill and like shit like that. And we were more active too, right? Like kids these days are getting fat because they're eating GMO fake food and they're sitting around and they're fucking on their phones and they're like lazy and they're playing video games, watching movies. Like not good, man, not good. It's making them soft. And that combined with the GMO food is also like diminishing their testosterone levels, even as at a young age when you should be like fucking like a fucking bull. Like it's diminishing their T levels. Like, and now it's just turning men into bitches. And plus, they're getting programmed with all this weird shit, all this indoctrination from the left and from weird ideologies from all over the place. Like, don't have any place in a real society. It's bad. A good stick is like the key to something primal in our blood and stoking the imagination. Yeah, no, for real, for real. A bunch of sticks can eventually build a good fire. And who doesn't love that? It's so funny because you get a bunch of dudes talking about like fucking sticks, man. But it's so true. Like every dude, every man, like even a man, bro. You give me a stick and I'll be like, all right, cool. Like I could do something with this, you know? Like, dude, that's primal, DJ. You're right. It's some funny shit. Oh man. Sarah, I got like a few questions from girls, man. I didn't know girls fucking watch. I think Instagram is where they find me. I doubt they're watching this YouTube channel. You seem to have led a very interesting life, Will. I am wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about your background and maybe go into what shaped your thoughts and opinions on the world as we know you today. It seems that maybe you have worked in the government or been involved somehow that way. Um, um, Thanks for the question, Sarah. I don't think I'm going to answer any of that, to be honest with you. I'm gonna keep that. It every now and again I let some stuff about myself trickle out, but I'm not really trying to put myself out there like that. When something is relevant to the conversation, I'll let it be known. But I'm not terribly keen on like bringing my whole life story out there because also it's not that relevant either. Um, it's not that. Look, I don't like to brag or anything. I've led a very interesting life, but it's not. I'm more of a private guy than that. So I don't think that I'll be telling my life story anytime soon. But I will, like I said, like I made that video about addiction and I said some stuff that I had never said before. So every now and again, you'll get a little piece here and there. But unless I know you, and even then, I don't think I talk a whole lot about myself like that. So we'll leave it at that. But thank you. Um, Thirsty questions from the girls. I guess, man. You know what? Listen, I love women. I really do. And they're all so beautiful in their own ways. And Sarah sounds like an absolutely lovely individual. And that question, it means a lot, because I know that she wants to get to know a little bit more about me. And I appreciate the question because everyone's got a life story, right? Everyone's got a life story, and people like to tell their life stories. But I'm going to keep that close to my vest. You have. Jim says you've got some nice watches, bro. Which one's your favorite? Asking the questions, man. I love watches. Actually, I recently bought. Okay, so I recently bought a Vietnam era What is Seiko? Was it a Seiko? What they were giving to the officers in the Vietnam War. I bought one of those. Okay, reproduction, not like original one. And I'm very happy with my purchase. I'm very happy. It looks very good. Can you talk a bit more about One Shepherd? So this was not G Dubs. This was Bunny 78. Yeah. So I think, like I said, like go train One Shepherd. Like look it up. But like, yo, like if you can get a semester, like go. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. It requires a small investment up front. There's the tuition, and then you have to purchase uniforms and you don't even have to purchase all the equipment up front. You can rent it, but you've got to purchase uniforms. But you should honestly, it's not a bad thing to have some uniforms and some equipment either way. So between the boots and the uniforms, it's like really the only heavy investment you've got to make up front. And like obviously like a sleeping bag, but like it's kind of it. You can rent almost everything else. You can rent your kit, your fighting kit. So like just go. If you got the money, do it. You won't regret it. Someone wanted to know where me and Jen met. We met online, and I'll leave it at that. Frank wants to know the best inside the waistband holsters. I don't know, man. That's really dependent on you, to be honest. Like, I like hog holsters. I've been using hog holsters for most of my concealed carry. Carrying a gun is uncomfortable. I like to carry off the body when I can. Like if I have the opportunity to have it in a backpack, I will try to do that because it's like there's no way around it. It's uncomfortable. You get used to it, but like I like to carry. I'm an appendix carry guy, and one of the things I like. Do I have a hog holster handy? I don't think so. One of the things that I like about hog holsters is they have a clip on them, so like it's just a latch and clip, so you can clip it right onto your belt, and it's not like you have to worry then about like I gotta unhook it every time I want to take my holster on and off. Like, you guys who carry know, like it literally you'll shove it right down your pants, click, and it's done. And then like if you're driving and you want to unclick it and put that shit like somewhere, you just unclick and you put it back, and then you're gonna get out and go into the store, click, you put it back in, right? It's very easy. So Hog, I think it's HAWG Holsters, very good company. I would always recommend them. As far as like, so I've had like, I grew up in the 90s, right? So like, I've always thought shoulder holsters were the shit until I started actually trying to wear them. And I realized like they print too much. They're just not efficient. Like they just suck. Like I love them and I love the concept and I love the way it looks like with a wife beater and like an open shirt, right? Like an open short sleeve button down shirt and like you got the fucking shoulder hold. It looks gangster as fuck, bro. But like for me, like I don't rock the shoulder holster. I feel like it's just too out there. But I do like a good shoulder holster. Yeah, fire is good. Fire helps to make various metals sharp. Sharp metals, very good, especially. Absolutely, man. Guys, I'll tell you what. I gotta go hit the head real quick. Give me 2 minutes, and I'll jump back on. I'll play y'all a little song while I'm gone. All right, let's see. We'll probably go. I got some shit I gotta do in a little bit, but we'll go for just a little bit longer. Bear with me. And I think I got at least a few more questions I got to hit too before we go. So we'll get to the rest of those and anything else you guys want to talk about as well. All right. I'll be right back. Let me hit the head. I'll be right back. kind of hyped, to be honest. Kind of starting to want to fucking go do some training. Fucking samurai shit. You carry a power in the very small. Wait, what? Hog Better, G Code, Safari Land, Bravo Concealment, and many others make IWB holsters. You can carry a power in a very small pack. That's what she said. G-Dubs likes G Code holsters. Yeah, and you know what, G-Dub, we gotta get a fucking collab between DJ and I going back. We just are dude, I'm so busy like all the fucking time right now, but I'm gonna make that work. And DJ, I'll send you an email tonight, man. In fact, I have literally a list. I get hit in the head so much, I forget everything. I'm literally writing that right now. You like my cactus pen? This thing is pretty cool, isn't it? I'm literally writing that on my list right now. Email DJ. Because we got to get not only a geopolitical report done, but just like a bullshit stream. Like that would be a lot of fun. Email DJ. Perfect. I will be sending you that tonight, sir. All right, guys, let's hit this. Let's get into this. Let's hit it hard for the last little bit that we're on this stream. Let me just look at that. Getting fucking text messages here that I got to like take care of. And then we'll hit it hard. So, thing about the way I have these all like copied and pasted and written in here is I fucking lose track of them. So yeah, Muhammad asked about the Arabic, and I answered that at the beginning of the stream, and thank you for the compliment, bro. I appreciate that as a native speaker that you say that. It means a lot. Thank you. Why do you think? Okay, I answered that one. Where did you learn most of your tradecraft stuff from? Doing it, and then like going to some pretty crazy training around the world. It's funny because I've talked about some of this stuff and some of the stuff I've done before, and like, fucking finished my tea already. It was good. I honestly keep most of that stuff pretty close to the vest these days, and not because I haven't really had to sign very many NDA type things in my life. I'm like legally allowed to talk about pretty much all of it, but I don't these days. Especially more of that type of stuff that like, I don't know. I never worked with who you might think that I worked with or anything like that. I've never done. I'll just leave it at that. But also listen about tradecraft and stuff though, like it's not, most of that stuff is not secret. Listen to Andrew Bustamante. Like if you want to know like the real legit like way that they do it over there, like CIA and like all those guys, watch his podcast. He gives away incredible information on it. And like if you can piece it together and like figure it out, it's not hard. Most of that stuff is about social skills anyway, but like just go on YouTube. You won't find a lot of really cool stuff on, because YouTube also scrubs their shit, but like you'll be amazed what you can find open source as well too. You don't have to like, but if you want to get good at it, you have to practice and get the reps in doing it. I'll put it to you like that. Otherwise you just like know it, but you don't necessarily like have it, if that makes sense. Krav Maga or BJJ. Anoliter for us. Um, fuck, man, those are like that's a shit sandwich. You want me to take a bite of that? I mean, I don't know, man. Do both. Don't do one or the other. Like we said earlier in the stream, like do both, man. Like if you do Krav and BJJ, you'd probably be like wind up being a pretty decent fighter, to be honest with you. Like that would be good. Because I'm not gonna sit here and like you can't trash all these different martial arts. They all, like I said, they all have merit. So like BJJ's got a lot of good stuff that we can learn. It will really teach you how to fight on the ground well especially if you're smart enough to realize like, okay, I'm learning how to position myself. I'm learning how to get out of bad positions on the ground. Like I'm learning all of this stuff. If I were to be able to also punch at the same time, or eye gouge, or bite, or like anything else, or throw elbows or chop, like it doesn't take a lot of skill to be able to realize, like, you know, if I sweep somebody and I end up on top of them, I need to grab their head and smash it into the fucking floor. Like that's just animal instincts. That's just savagery, right? So like I can't trash BJJ completely, and I can't trash Krav Maga completely either, because you'll learn great things at both of them. But I guess my advice with that stuff would be just don't study just one. Study them all, and you'll be well prepared to handle yourself in a bad situation. All right. My favorite cheat meal is chicken or lamb tikka masala, actually, but not some bullshit curry. Like real good, tasty curry. Where I live now doesn't have any good food. The state that I live in is like, I'm from fucking Jersey, right? Like we got good food no matter where you go, from every ethnic group in the world. Where I'm at now and out west, we don't got good food because we got mostly white people here. It's like majority white people. But if I'm gonna have some shitty, like some stuff that's high caloric, you know, I would love some curry with like some naan, garlic naan, maybe in like a mango latte on the side with some spice in the curry. Like, yeah, that's my jam. Or pasta, like a nice carbonara or some shit like that, or some. Oh man, you can't go wrong with like vodka sauce. Fucking forget about it, you know. Like, damn. My go-to carry gun, compact 9mm, and I'm not gonna reveal the exact one. I don't know why. I feel the need to hide that, but it's a compact 9mm. Right. I think we're almost a single stack, by the way. I think the questions are almost done here, man. Like everything is going good. All right, here's one more. Aquaman wants to know, with everything going on in the Middle East, what do you think it would take to actually provoke a war with Iran? I mean, direct conflict. Curious to know your thoughts and opinions about this. Should we take them out? That's funny. You know, I was just having this conversation at lunch. I see a Persian girl. Like, she's actually from Iran. And we were talking about this. And so what do I think it would take to provoke a war with Iran? I wonder that a lot, because the regime there seems to me to be like a barking dog, that when it meets another barking dog and they're both on their leash, they bark. But then when you break one dog off of its leash, that barking other dog stops and it becomes docile. That seems to be, to me, the Iranian regime. When they know America is on a leash and we're not going to do shit, they'll bark. But the second they see that leash come off, and we got a crazy mother flower in there like Trump or somebody who actually would like hit them up, they shut up. Because when it comes down to it, the Iranian regime realizes that their foothold on power is shaky. And the Iranian people, they don't, a lot of them really don't like the government, but they're nationalists. There's a lot more nationalists than originally thought in Iran. So like, here's what my friend was saying. She thought if Iran was actually if their nationalism was threatened, right? If Iran itself was attacked, the people would rally behind the government. But if it was seeming to them like their government was under attack and not the people, they might let it slide because they'd like to get rid of that government that they have, because the Iranian people are like fucking super smart. They're super smart people. Like, they could have an incredible GDP. They export a lot of their brain power, sort of like China. But unlike China, they're not that great at like stealing intellectual property through espionage. So like, they could be a superpower, but I don't think under the current regime, with all of their Islamic rhetoric, they're capable of being a superpower. But if they would focus more on building their economy and building ties with the West, they could absolutely be a regional superpower. And that's the way that Saudi Arabia is heading, and the UAE, and Israel is pretty much there, or was pretty much there before the October 7th thing happened. But I think that the regime realizes that their foothold on power is tenuous. So I don't think that they're keen for an actual war, but I think that they will provoke as much as they can, or as much as they think they can. Sorry, the other part of the question was, what would it take to provoke an actual war with them? I think Israel's the wild card there, right? Because, I mean, especially under Netanyahu, like if Netanyahu feels like they have no other choice, they will hit them. I mean, that would open up like a war on all fronts. But I mean, Netanyahu's kind of a religious zealot, so he's a little bit like unstable. I mean, we can see that, and I think if they thought they really had no other option, they would do that. And I think that would drag us into it as well. And they know that. And I think that if we got dragged into it, then, NATO obviously would more than likely have to join us as well. And it would be a big thing. Do I think we can defeat Iran? It would be very costly, I think. Very, very costly. And I think that if the Iranian people thought that their sovereignty, like their nationalism, was under attack directly, I think that more of them would fight than we think. So that's what I think about that. Now, with that being said, we're coming up here on the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to probably get going. I've got some stuff I want to take care of tonight, but it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in, and also the guys that are going to watch this after the fact. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Leave me a thumbs up and a like and a comment if you can. Obviously, if you hadn't subscribed already, doing so helps us out. Let's build this channel up, guys. I'm almost at 11,000 subscribers. I remember when we had 11 subscribers, and it's cool to watch this channel grow. It's a small channel, but we do our best, and we have a lot of fun with it too. So, Apocalypse, bro, thank you so much for that donation, man. It means a lot to me. Definitely helps me out, and all of you other guys, Dr. Squirrely, DJ, G-Dubs, man, Terminator, like Mo, and Mayo, like all you guys out there, bro. Pleasure as always to catch up with you, and I'll see you all on the next stream. Richie. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Please remember until next time that you are your first and last line of defense. See you next time, guys. Cheers, motherflowers.